Hi,
Hey, Adam,
Carl.
how are you?
Hey, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. Good connection?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure to be speaking with you today.
Oh, a pleasure for me too. Just a quick question. Ain't it cool? There's a kind of historic website blog here called Ain't It Cool News that Harry, I forget his name. The guy.
Harry Knowles.
Yeah. Any connection or just
Yep, yep, it's that website. Yep.
okay? All right. Yeah, because I always enjoyed reading him, even though upset the Hollywood community from time to time. I thought I was sort of take on things.
All right, excellent. I'm sure he'll be thrilled to hear that.
Well, what can I tell you? Good fun. Go on.
Well, Jaws is my favourite film of all time. So, you know,
Thanks.
the any chance I get to discuss it with someone who was involved as intimately as you were, is quite the honour.
Yeah, I guess I should refer you to my book, The Jaws Log. Have you seen that?
Oh yeah, yeah, I've certainly read that. Yeah.
Because the two new editions, and there's yet a third one coming out in connection with Blu-ray. Uh, the last, the 25th and 30th anniversary editions had a lot of endnotes and materials that weren't in the first book. So there's, there's good stuff. There's good stuff in the two later editions. I think were published by Faber in the UK. Anyway, the Jaws log is back with a slightly expanded edition. Uh, I see it already on Amazon UK, so it's out there. Anyway, so I'm just putting in a plug for my book if you don't mind.
No, that's absolutely fine. I was going to ask you about that anyway. What new
Okay.
material is in the expanded edition?
Uh, you know, I, I don't know what if they've added anything since the 30th anniversary. Uh, I, I know in the previous latest and greatest had a new introduction by Benchley, and the end notes were expanded slightly. So, uh, and they're working from my manuscript on the notes, so they may have some new artwork in it. I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you.
Oh right.
Uh, it might just be a new cover. Don't tell them I told you that. It's still the best-selling book about the making of a movie ever. There's been bigger grossers than Jaws came out, but there have not been bigger books.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's still quite amazing that in this um, digital age, and where
Yeah,
every DVD has a making of feature,
right.
and even though there's there's documentaries on Jaws, you know, on Jaws itself, yet the your making
And the
of
additional
book.
material that's on the Blu-ray, there's two documentaries that are very thorough and interesting. I mean, I loved watching them. And, I'm in them. I show up as a talking head, of course, but both the Shark is still working and the A&E making of long form documentary. I, I've never watched them all at once, and that I'm pre DVD age, so I will watch the movie and I don't get all the additional features the first time through.
Yeah, the
And
shark is.
the Blu-ray is going to have uh, two two companion pieces that are long and very thorough. The weird thing about iconic films is when you make them, you're just making a movie. I'm sure uh, I don't put us in the same league as Casablanca, but at the time they were just trying to get a movie made in the time allotted,
Yeah.
and, and realized, holy shit, it really grabs people and continues to do so. I never feel fail to be amazed at that phenomenon.
Yeah, it just kind of exploded.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best thing you can do as a writer, and I had another kind of iconic comedy hit with Steve Martin, Jerk, uh, and you realize that people who were not born when the film was made quote dialogue from it, who kind of study it frame by frame, DVD freeze frame and play it back, watch it in slow motion, and when the movies came out, you watched them once in a theater, and you wanted to see it again. You had to bought another ticket and went back into the theater.
Yeah.
Now the fans study the film in a way that was never possible before. So that, which leaves a lot of questions about stuff that I really had to, over the years, kind of catch up on my knowledge of the film, because I'm being asked questions that I haven't thought about in 30 years. And I like to come up with answers. I don't want to be blank on that stuff. So I dredge my memory, and I look at my own books to find things, to find answers.
For reference. Yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to seeing The Shark Is Still Working. I mean, I've been dying to see that for
Yeah,
years, and I've
they
always.
had they got access to a lot of stuff that's never been seen. They actually went to the vineyard and lived there and just asked everybody, for their home movies, for still photographs or snapshots taken that summer, and they assembled a lot of footage no one had seen before, which is great.
I think between your book and the two documentaries on the upcoming Jaws Blu-ray, I think fans are pretty much set for discovering about the film if they haven't before.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of material there, and some questions I think will remain forever unanswered, because memories occasionally are conflicting, and everybody has their own version of history.
Yeah.
I was lucky because I got to write it down and make notes, so I think my version. Benchley liked the book a lot. He would be a great favorite writing a new introduction just before he died, actually, for the 30th edition, 30th anniversary edition of Jaws Log.
And have you seen the Blu-ray remaster of the film yet?
I have not. I have not seen it yet. I guess I'm just finishing it. I will probably see it in the next week or so. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what it looks like on my big high def screen at home.
Over here, it's just about to get a limited theatrical run again, and I've never seen it on the big screen, unfortunately. So I'm really
Oh,
looking forward to that.
it's quite an experience, and it's wonderful to see it with an audience.
Yeah, yeah,
When it came out, the scene where the head appears in the boat and everybody shrieks and jumps.
yeah,
Then discovered, well, my wife and I, and my then wife and I, and Stephen would go be out for dinner, after the film was out and playing in the theaters. And I knew a manager of one of the theaters in Hollywood who kind of let us in. So we would look at our watch and say, "Oh, it's almost time for the head. Let's go." We'd drive to the theater, go stand. The manager would let us in, and we'd stand in the back, and we would watch 1,200 people jump. You literally could see the whole audience rise up sit down, you go, you'd hear that kind of a thump as 1,200 bottoms hit the chair again, and of course that huge shriek, and then the nervous laughter that follows it, and we would go, week after week, we'd go to the theater just to see that moment because it was so visceral, it was so uh, real, that audience reaction that you could never fake that, you can't buy that, you can't construct it any better than Stephen did. And we would just go and we would just watch the audience. Because he's watching from behind, you see the whole audience jump. And so when you see the movie, if you actually, I would like you to see the movie without being outside, and I want you to surrender to the film. But if you go back for a second showing, and sit off to one side, and as that moment approaches, watch the audience, and 37 years later, they will still just jump.
Yeah.
Any collection of people in a dark room watching on a big screen, that moment is sure.
I guess it's almost the kind of ultimate response to your film, and just knowing that you succeeded really.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, when you see a successful film, and I've been connected with more than one. I was an actor in the film version of MASH. I acted in and co-wrote The Jerk. I wrote and directed Caveman. And so I've seen the audience reaction. And you know, just attending movies in the theater, that when an audience is with something, the palpable air in the room, you know that everybody's enjoying it.
Yeah.
But when you physically move an audience, that jump or squirm or guffaw with laughter, that's a wonderful feeling, knowing that you've succeeded in that. Because but you try for that every time.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
don't always get it. And of course, it's not. It is to this day. It's a mystery. It's not non-formulaic. You see a lot of people try, but if we could make a hit every time, that's all we would do. But we don't tell the audience what's a hit. They tell us to this day. But I think you'll enjoy it with an audience, because there's that shared sense of community that an audience has, which is terrific. You don't get when you're watching it at home.
No, I'm definitely looking forward to that. And how did, upon the original release, you mentioned obviously audiences being very scared, but because originally you were, aside from you originally working on the film as an actor, and then I believe you were brought in to add humor to the script, but then you ended up basically doing a full rewrite.
Yeah.
So how did audiences originally react to the humor that you brought to it? I mean, were they too scared to laugh, or?
Yes. I mean, the most gratifying thing about watching that movie with an audience that had never seen it and never heard of it, there was a sneak preview. There were actually two sneak previews. In old Hollywood, nowadays with the internet, excerpts of the film and people leaking tapes, trailers, there's very little mystery to a film. But when Jaws was in pre-release, the first public screenings were uh, audiences didn't know what they were going to see. You went to a theater that advertised Hollywood preview, a blockbuster novel is brought to the screen, and you would get basically two films for the price of one. You would go to see whatever was playing at the theater, and then you'd stay and you'd see this film about which you knew nothing. And of course, the studio executives and all the artists involved, the director, the editor, the composer, we're all watching to see It was a pretty unnerving moment. Stephen was so nervous going to the screening in Lakewood, down in Orange County, south of Los Angeles. We shared a car, limo studio provided, and my wife and I made a big thermos of chamomile tea just to calm him on the trip down. So that he could watch it, because the night it previewed on a Friday and a Saturday night. Friday night in Dallas, Texas. Saturday night in Orange County, California. And the Dallas preview had gone, brilliantly. The audience, laughed in all the right places, screamed in all the right places, and it it had the appearance of a hit. But the next night was going to be, was that a fluke? Are you going to repeat the experience?
Yeah.
Will the laughs be in different places? Will the screams be someplace else? So you don't know. So and I had not been to Dallas. I was only going to the Lakewood screening. So we went, and sure enough, it played as you would expect. The audience, you know, gasped when Chrissy was killed in the opening sequence. They, shrieked when the head appeared in the boat. They laughed when he said, when Roy says you're going to need a bigger boat. They were in rapt attention to the Indianapolis speech. Everything played perfectly. One person got up in the middle of the film and left, and Stephen was, oh shit, we got to walk out, which is obviously the worst thing you can have in the preview, is a walkout. But what it was a guy who was so affected and nervous from the film that he went to the men's room to throw up, and then ran back to his seat to watch the rest of the movie. Adam, at that preview, you know how Jaws kind of changed exhibition and distribution patterns forever. Also, it had a business component.
Oh yeah, yeah.
At that Lakewood screening, at the conclusion of the showing, the the president of MCA Universal, Sid Sheinberg, the head of publicity and marketing, the head of distribution and sales, and their assistants, so there's like 6 or 8 executives in suits. You couldn't hear yourself talk in the lobby because of the hubbub of the excited crowd leaving the theater. So there was like an executive meeting in the men's room, men's toilet, where these guys just stood and figured out that they're going to have to change the release pattern for the movie. Instead of opening, a couple hundred theaters and playing the big cities and going up slow, they were going to do the release you saw, which was 600 or 400 or 600 screens, which was unprecedented at the time. That notion of a summer blockbuster that would be released simultaneously all over the place. And that exhibition philosophy was born in a men's room in Orange County following the second preview of Jaws.
So a unique place for a board meeting.
Yeah, and the industry has had to live with the consequences ever since, because that is now the standard pattern for blockbuster release.
Yeah.
3,000 screens, 5,000 will be going global, and it became the way to release movies. Everybody forgets how it used to be.
I guess it was essentially the first true blockbuster.
Yeah, I mean, it was the first summer blockbuster, wide release film, and so it has its place in history as, I guess, artistically as a good film, and on the business side, a case study for the London School of Economics on how movie distribution patterns evolved.
With the changes that were made to your script compared to the book, have you ever had any fans come up to you and say that they actually thought that things like the the Hooper and Ellen Brody romance and the mafia subplot would actually work better in the film?
I don't think anybody ever missed them. I've never heard somebody say, well, no, some people have said, why did you, cut the affair? Because there was, if you consider it as a writing exercise, the additional sexual tension of the husband and the oceanographer, knowing that the oceanographer has slept with the police chief's wife, and then they have to be interdependent, their final confrontations with the shark, that would lend a really interesting element to relationships. And we thought about that, and the Hooper Brody romance was in the script as I started to rewrite it. But then, when we saw Richard Dreyfuss's personality as an actor and Hooper's likability as that odd little intellectual who comes to this island with this shark frenzy, and his relationship with Ellen Brody, we said she would never, sleep with this guy. It was, it just, it just wouldn't make sense. And we like her too much. She's just adorable as the mother of the kids and loving wife. Have her, that whole plot in the novel is based on the fact that she was a former summer person who had married an islander, which we flipped on its head. We made him, both of them, off-islanders who had come to Amity to live, and were faced with being kind of outsiders to the community, yet having to make decisions that affected the welfare of their new home and their new community, their adopted community. So basically, we said, that the affair, just given the personalities of the actors and the chemistry between them, it's just, improbable and unnecessary to add any, add sex between them. It cheapens the wife and makes him kind of a cad. And of course, in the novel, he dies. He's properly punished for his transgression.
Yeah.
And we said, no, the moment when Hooper pops up at the end of the film alive, that's a nice thing for the audience. And then kind of, you're unsure if the shark attacks the cage if he survives or doesn't. And that moment when the two of them start paddling for shore together and having accomplished the impossible, that's that could never have been if we kept that subplot. So out it went.
I think from
And
the
when you explain to people, come on, Hooper and Ellen wouldn't do that to Brody. People go, yeah, you're right. They get it.
yeah.
And we had the mafia real estate developer. I mean, that was not only unnecessary, but the fact that it was absent from the script made Murray Hamilton far more complex and pathetic character for insisting that the beaches stay open, doing what he thought was right, as it turns out, a terrible mistake. So it is that kind of pruning and clearing and focusing on just one single storyline. That I think that helped us.